All right, here we go, guys. This is the thoracic or upper back mobility. We're going to need a couple pieces of equipment, broomstick. I have a wobble cushion. You don't necessarily have to have those. You could just sit on the edge of the chair, but I do have a wobble cushion. If you have one of those, it'll help with our wobbles. And we have a foam roller here. And the other thing that you'll need is a band, like a stretchy band. All right, so we're going to start with our wobbles. So this cushion's close to the front of the chair. We're going to do 5 different movements. The first one is going to be this forward and back. We're letting the hips tilt forward and then tilt back on that cushion. You're going to accentuate the arch and slouch. Arch and slouch. We're going to do this 50 times. We're going to get the spine nice and warm and loose for this routine. This is also going to get nourishment, fluid into the joints, discs, and all areas of the spine. So I'm going to pick up the pace now that I'm loosened up a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit faster. If there is any pain associated with this, we can make the movement a little bit smaller and slower. But I don't have any pain, so I'm going to just kind of flow through these. You have to forgive me because I'm not going to keep perfect count, but we want to do about 50 in each direction. And by the time I'm done with just this first one, I will definitely be warm. I might even be perspiring a little bit. That's a good sign. That tells us that we were actually doing something productive. A little bit of sweat. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a side to side. Arms will come up, shoulders will come up, and we're going to lean side to side. So as my hips drop off the cushion, I'm going to lean in the opposite direction, just like that. Drops and lean away. So we're going to do 50 of those. Again, you can start out slow and then pick up your pace. But once you feel warm and loose and there's no pain associated with this, you can go at about this speed, nice and quick. Again, you can make the movement smaller or slower if you're extremely sore, stiff, or have any pain. We don't want to go through a painful range of motion, so we just make the movement a little bit smaller. So you can see my head, neck, shoulders, low back, and hips. Everything is moving in this. Again, I'm not keeping perfect count, so don't judge. Now we're going to go in a circle pattern. This one sometimes takes some getting used to be able to do it. But after you've done it a few times, it won't be quite so awkward, and it'll feel more natural and easier to do. So if I made this movement smaller because I was really sore or stiff, it could be as small as this movement right here, or it can be as big as we were just doing here. So we're going through a big arch, lean, slouch, lean, arch. So we're just going through the whole big circle there. You may feel in your spine movement of the vertebra, some kind of crunchy, popping, things like that. That's just you creating movement, loosening up, breaking through some scar tissue, creating some movement in the spine. It's all good things. Now we're going to go in the opposite direction. Again, this just wobbling in and of itself is a really good workout to get things loosened up. I tell a lot of people to do this first thing in the morning as soon as they wake up, work out some of that stiffness. This is a good daily thing to do. Spinal hygiene, a way of keeping all the joints healthy and nourished. Just like you brush your teeth every single day, you should be doing something every single day for the health of your spine, joints, muscles, ligaments, disc. And this wobble movement is one easy way. All right, last thing we're going to do is just hips are going to stay still. We're going to rotate or twist in the upper back. I tend to just close my eyes and try and relax as I'm doing these. Just focusing on breath, continue to breathe. Try not to hold your breath as you're doing these. We're going to move on. We're going to start to do some foam rolling. So I'm going to put this foam roller at the top of my shoulders. My knees are going to be bent. I'm going to keep my knees bent and use my legs to control my body weight as I roll up and down, starting at the top of the shoulders. I'm going to be somewhat relaxed in my spine, not fully Gumby, but not rigid. Don't squeeze your abs, let your abs be relaxed. So I'm going to go about 5 or 6 times up and down, just center of my spine's. Arms could be open or at the back of your head, or you could even lay them across your chest. Then what I'm going to do, I am going to cross my arms on my chest. Foam roller's getting a little away from me, so I'm going to readjust my position. I'm going to angle my body off to the side just a little bit so I can get the muscles that are along the ribs, or along where the rib and the spine join together. Up in between the shoulder blades. I'll do 5 or 6 times on that side. And then I will twist over and do the other side 5 or 6 times. Again, just using my legs, keeping my knees bent to control my body weight. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this lengthwise or parallel with my spine. I'm going to lay on top of it. My head will be a little bit relaxed off. And I'm going to do kind of a version of snow angels, trying to keep the back of my forearms as close as they can get to the floor to stretch the chest open, so my head needs to be relaxed back. Shoulders need to be squeezed back or pushed back as far as they can get. I'm going to reach all the way overhead, keeping my arms in contact with the floor. And just do snow angels here. We're going to do about anywhere from 5 to 10 of these. I'll just do 5 just for time's sake. If you feel like you need to do more, because this is a great stretch and your body's just asking for more, then you do 10. One more. Excellent. All right, last thing we're going to do with the foam roller is we're going to do an extension, or almost like a reverse sit-up, I call it. So on this, our hips are going to stay down on the ground. Our tummy's actually going to be tightened on this one so that we keep our low back neutral and we don't let our low back arch or our ribs flare up. That would be bad. That's just arching the low back and not accomplishing what we want. We want that low back to stay flat and the stomach to stay engaged and the ribs to stay down. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to push our shoulders and our head backwards. So you're going to take a breath in and out. Push backwards as you breathe out, keeping the ribs down and pushing the shoulders and the head back. So we're bending over top of this in the thoracic spine. We'll do a couple different positions. So I'm going to move that roll up a little bit and I'm going to repeat. I'll do it again. So the biggest thing there is not to let the ribs flare. I'll show you one time doing it wrong, where my ribs flare and my low back arches. As you can see, I can bend over this roll really easily, but I don't create any extension in my upper back. It's all just my low back arching, which is not the goal of that exercise. All right, now we're going to do some shoulder circles or shrugs. We're going to go forward and backwards. You're going to do about 6 times in each direction. Trying to keep the head neutral. Don't let your head come forward. Try to keep it up over your shoulders as you're doing these. Now we'll go in the opposite direction. I also like to bring my arms out in front and repeat the same thing, getting a little bit more movement in my shoulder blades. I think about my arms being like the cranks on the side of a choo-choo train. In reverse. Good. And now I'm going to do just some basic circles. 1, 2, 3. Forward, backwards, both directions. Backwards, forward. And then I'll also do some shoulder circles this way. So when I'm going in the backwards direction, I'm going to have my thumb or my palm up and my thumb pointed backwards, like a hitchhiker movement kind of. And I'm just going to go in circles here backwards. You can do anywhere from 25 at the low end all the way up to 75 here. You want to keep your shoulders pinned back. You don't want to let your shoulders roll forward. You want to keep your head, neck long and tall and your stomach engaged. So we're going to do 25 backwards just for time's sake. You could do as much as 75. Try and keep the shoulder blades pinned back or squeezed back just a little bit so that your shoulder blades stay flat against your back. And then to go in the other direction, we're going to turn the palms down and the thumbs are going to be pointed forward. Again, keeping the shoulder blades pinned back, squeezed back just slightly. We're going to go 25 forward. So you may notice a little bit of tension starting to build up in the neck with these arm circles. That's totally fine because that's where we're going next. To release the tension in the neck and go through range of motion in your neck. Make these circles about 6 inches. So if you're not feeling it, you're probably going too small with them. Make them just a little bit bigger. I'll show you from a side view. If there's any pain with your arms out here at 90, you can start a little bit lower and do circles here like that. That's totally fine to start here and build up. This will take any pinch out of the shoulder and make it a little bit easier on you. All right, now we're going into the neck. So we're going to start with just a lateral lean or a side bend in the neck. Trying to keep the shoulders level. Just let your neck fall to the side. You can kind of turn it a little bit to find a little bit of extra range of motion. And then we'll drop it down, come to the other side. What we won't do is we won't go backwards because we don't want to create a pinch in the joints of the neck. That's not good. The only thing that we'll do is to go from side to side. Just let the head drop down and roll over. So we'll do about 3 to 6 of these to each side. We're going to do 3 just to keep it short for the video. Just a breath or 2 on each side. Letting all those muscles in the shoulder relax. Try and push a little bit, bringing that ear closer and closer to the shoulder. One more time to the other side. Good. Now we're going to go through circles in the neck. So this is going to look like, I'll do it from the side. You're going to push out. You're going to turn, pull back, come to the other side, push out. And you're going to go. Trying to keep the chin on the level. Through a full range of motion there. 5 to 10 times in each direction. So I'm going to reverse now. So I'm going to go all the way around with my head poked out and then all the way around with my chin pulled back. This one takes some coordination, some trial and error. You might not get it the first time. I suggest even maybe doing it in the mirror to get a feel for it. There might be some crunching and stuff going on in the neck there. That's totally fine as long as there's no pain. Again, if there's pain, make it smaller, go a little bit slower, and if there's still an issue, you can ask me. All right, so now we're going to go into a side body stretch. So this feet can be about shoulder width apart. We're going to reach this arm nice and tall and long, keeping that elbow straight. We're going to lean all the way over to the side there, kicking that hip out. And we're not really going to stay. We're just going to rock side to side. Again, if there's pain, we're not going to do these at quite as big. We can make them a little bit smaller. Again, about 5 or 6 times on each side. If you feel like one side's a little bit tighter, say this side's a little bit tighter for me, I could spend an extra breath or two just trying to open that side up a little bit more. Listen to your body. You don't have to follow me exactly in timing. You can spend a little bit more time on areas that you feel are tight. Okay, so now we're going to go into a kneeling twisting movement here. So what it's going to look like, you're going to be on all fours. You're going to reach through with this hand as far as you can towards in the opposite direction. You'll let the shoulder rest down on the ground and you'll just reach as far as you can with that hand. And then you're going to lead with the elbow towards the ceiling as far as you can get that elbow back, and then reach up with your hand towards the sky. We're going to go back through. Five or 6 times on that side, and then I'm going to repeat on this side. I'm going to stay in this direction so you can see me reaching through on this one. So I'm going to reach through, let that shoulder drop, feel that stretch behind the shoulder blade, and then come up and reach. Back down, stretch in the shoulder blade, let the head and the shoulder touch the ground, lead with the elbow, and then reach up. Last one. All right, now we're going to do what's called a reverse bretzel. So our legs are going to be at 90 degrees. So 90 degrees at the knee, 90 degrees at the knee here. This leg is going to be parallel with this thigh. And what we're going to do is we're going to twist so that our chest is parallel with this thigh. So we're going to twist and rotate our body all the way in this direction. And then we're going to take the right arm, we're going to reach through to the left and drop the right shoulder down to the ground. So it'll look like this. And then what you're going to do is we're going to switch, rock the legs over here. Again, we're in that 90-90 position with the legs. We're going to twist, reach through, drop the shoulder down. Come back up. Here, I'm going to change my position just so you can see from a different angle. I'm going to twist through so my chest is parallel with here. I'm going to reach this right arm through and drop the shoulder down, supporting myself on the left arm. And then we'll twist this direction, rotate, support yourself on the right arm this time, reach through with the left, drop the shoulder down. So you're going to feel a stretch in the back of the hip, and you're going to feel a stretch through the muscles along the spine. This is a stretch that you could actually just sit in and breathe, 60 seconds or more. We're not doing that for this purpose. We're just more doing a flow or a mobilization. I'm going to do one more time to each side. Again, if you feel like you need to spend some time in this stretch and hang out, you can do that and just hit pause. Good. All right, next one we're going to do is a kind of a side-lying twist for the upper back. So I'm going to show you two different versions. One is going to be with the hips bent at 90 degrees. The arms at the same parallel with the hips. 90 degrees from the body. They're stacked on top of each other. Your head's relaxed. We're going to take that top arm. We're going to bring it open to the other side. Your head's going to follow, and your shoulder's just going to relax all the way open. You're going to keep your knees stacked. Don't let them come unstacked. And you're just going to use the weight of your arm and shoulder to help pull that chest open. And we're just going to breathe, letting that with each breath reach long with that left arm back as far as you can. Reach, reach, reach. Feel that chest stretch and let your breath assist you in this stretch. So I'm just going to relax and breathe. To come out of that stretch, just bring that arm back over. Hang out there, and then you can push yourself up. We're going to do the other side, but for the other side, I'm going to show you the a different version of that stretch, of that twisting stretch. So what it's going to look like here is I'm going to grab this leg here with my top arm, so same arm, same leg. And then this is going to grab here. I'm actually going to hold underneath that thigh, and I'm going to pull that thigh this way, and I'm going to pull this leg backwards. Actually, I need to reverse that. So this, the top leg is actually going to come across the body, and I'm going to grab with that opposite arm, and then this hand will grab this bottom leg. And what I'll do is I'll usually just use my, just kind of wiggle around a bit to get this bottom leg back further. And then I'm going to pull a little bit with the arm. And now what I want to do is relax my head and shoulder back. Let that top shoulder roll open and drop towards the ground. Use your arms to pull on your legs to help separate them even further. Pull that top leg up towards your chest. And pull that bottom leg heel back towards your bottom. And then just breathe and relax. With each exhale, I try and drop that top shoulder closer to the ground. To come out, we're going to let the legs go. We're going to bring that arm forward, and you're going to roll onto your belly. All right, so that was two versions of the same kind of upper back twisting stretch. And then now we're going to go into a banded stretch for the chest. So we're going to need a band. I'm going to step out of the screen for just a second. I'm going to grab my band, so I'm anchored. You can anchor this band to the door, to the wall, anywhere in the house that you can find. I have the same side leg forward. That I have that on the chest I'm stretching. My palm is going to be up, and my shoulder is going to be open. I don't want my shoulder to be down like that. I want it to be back and open and the palm up. My head's going to be leaned back and away to create that stretch through the neck, shoulder, chest here. This is a stretch that we can stay in at a minimum of 60 seconds all the way up to 2 or 3 minutes, just depending on how you're feeling that day. The more of a stretch you want, just pull further away, scoot your body away so that band pulls even harder or distracts that shoulder even more open. Or you just turn your body away from the stretch. Remember to breathe so that your muscles start to relax and that shoulder lets go and you feel that distraction of the band and the big stretch in the front of the shoulder, chest area. All right, so that was probably about 30 seconds. So guys, it'd really be at least double that at a minimum. I'm gonna do the other side here. So you're gonna see that palm is up, that shoulder's rolled open and back. I'm gonna have the same leg forward as I have my arm back. I could also do this standing. I don't have to do it kneeling. I'm just doing it kneeling so you guys can see me better in the view of the camera. Turn my head up and away. Keep that palm rolled as much open or as much towards the ceiling as we possibly can get it. And then just breathe. Hold that for 60 seconds. All right, again, that was about 30 seconds, so we'd want to double that. So you guys should be pausing that to do some more time in that stretch. We're moving on to the very last one. We're going to need the broomstick for this one. This is going to get the back of the shoulders here and the lat muscle. I'm going to use the broomstick and a couch. You could use a chair, ottoman, anything at the house that you have. We're going to make sure that we're going to hold the broomstick like this, where the distance is slightly wider than our shoulders, and the elbows are going to be inside of that grip or in line with the shoulders, or maybe even slightly inside of the shoulder width. We're going to put the elbows on here. The arms are going to be out straight, and we're going to drop our head down. And then we're going to just slightly or slowly start to bend the elbows. All right, I'm going to come out of that and repeat it in the opposite direction so you can kind of see what it looks like from the other side. I usually do that about maybe 3 or 4 times. Bending the elbows towards me. If you can't drop your torso below your shoulders, that's totally fine. You may be, more out here like this. Just, where you are is where you are, and you just work on it each and every day in order to get better. The tendency, what you'll feel with your when your grip is outside of your elbows, you'll feel as you bring your arms overhead that your elbows will want to slide outwards. If we're on a soft surface like the couch, that helps kind of with the tackiness and holding the elbows in place. So it's going to look like this from another angle. If you remember to breathe on those, you're going to get 10 times more out of the stretch than if you're holding your breath the whole time. So just really remember to focus on that breath, big breaths in and out, really as full as you can get. You're going to feel a huge stretch across through here in that lower back or side in that lower lat muscle.